Hello, my friend, and welcome to Namaste Today, a helpful way to start every day. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, psychic astrologer and friend to the world. And this audio blogcast is for Friday. It's finally Friday. Friday, February 20th, 2017. So glad to have you back, and Namaste. Today is probably the most bizarre day of the given year. It is the first day of Aquarius, and step 0 rules the day. So if you feel off or alien or like you're on another planet, you're right where you're supposed to be. It's a vortex, it's a transition. And now that we've climbed the mountain of Capricorn, we're going to now ascend to where we truly belong. In today's Zodiac Weather, I'll be talking about what you can expect today and through the weekend to kick off Aquarius. And later in your tea time, since we have a new president being sworn in today, I thought I would talk about my latest Donald Trumpdate. That is, an update on the observations I have noticed since we have been in this transition. But first, let's take a look at today's mood and your Zodiac Weather. This Zodiac Weather is for Friday, January 20th, 2017. And my global forecast for the whole world is cloudy and quite withdrawn. Whether you're a U.S. citizen or not, step 0 rules the day. This is the vortex between realities, so you will feel in and out of Capricorn, in and out of Aquarius, and probably in and out of reality. Adding more intensity to it, the moon is in Scorpio, so emotionally you may feel a little vulnerable and you want to be drawing some lines. Let's take a look at the planets. Step 0 rules the day. 0 means 0. It means you might feel like 0 with energy and 0 interested and 0 wanting to do anything. And then all of a sudden you might go to 100. That is the kind of bipolar energy of 0 or Scorpio today. Making things even more bizarre, we're shifting into the Aquarius energy. Aquarius energy is where one belongs. It turns into our community. It turns into our friendships. It turns into reputation and title. But in these first 10 days of Aquarius, it's even more bizarre. It's where you feel you belong with yourself. So you are up, and so is everyone, for some soul searching in the next 10 days of where you belong with yourself and where you sit feeling comfortable with yourself. The moon today is in Scorpio, which is step 0 as well, the boundary and border. So emotionally, you may feel a little on guard, a little vulnerable. This is to be expected. Basically, you are sorting your energies, what stays and what goes, and we're going through the transition. So all in all, expect today to feel really awkward and strange. Now, the good news of Aquarius is, even though it's kind of far out and hard for us to comprehend where we belong in the universe, the sun in Aquarius means that the Earth is in Leo. And wherever the Earth is in astrology tells us what we will be harvesting this month. What we'll be harvesting is Leo love. So the good news is, by the end of the month, after chasing around for where you belong, the harvest will be something your heart wants, something you love. And that's maybe why we have Valentine's Day in the Aquarius vibration, because we do harvest love. Now today, the real recipe is to open up. Many planets are saying open up today. Mercury is at step 6, which is I receive. So expect to receive new ideas and expect to receive the new way and new protocol of life. I'm talking about Capricorn, of course, that mountain we just climbed. Well, Mercury is now seeing to it day by day that we follow through. So open up to what your plans are. Then Mars is saying open up to your spiritual highest good today. So whatever you have a choice in, if you're having to put down zeros, as I like to say, or draw boundaries, well, open up to receive what your highest good would be, and open up to receive your highest good from yourself. Be the greatest to yourself you can right now. This actually circulating your compassion like that opens up higher realms of knowledge. And then Venus says it's also time to open up. In fact, Venus is at step 17, Pisces, and that literally means it's time to decide what we're going to open up to. So indeed, it is a step 0 day, and it sounds like we are default closed, and we are looking to open up. And that's exactly what you want to try to do. Now, if you're having any trouble opening up, to something in life today, you probably need some protection, or you might need a little time and space before you force yourself. Now, over the weekend, Saturday is going to be actually the best day. You'll probably feel the most loving. You'll definitely feel Capricorn energy gone. And one of the cool things about Aquarius is it is so much more lighter feeling than heavy Capricorn. So I think we all feel liberated and free. Then on Sunday, just want to put a little warning out there, there's a real chance of showers. In fact, if you've purchased one of my Megascope monthly report, this weekend is one of the mega dates. This is where emotions can kind of open up and create some problems. So be gentle with yourself on Sunday. Things will get much brighter and rainbow-like on Monday. Now, speaking of bright and rainbow-like, I hear we're getting a new president today, and that got me to reflecting about what I've been watching and observing since all this election energy. Of course, I've also looked at the planets. So go make yourself a cup of tea, and let's have our weekend tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is a Donald Trump date. We've been talking and watching together the country changing pretty radically since November. And I had predicted in 2016 that it was going to end kind of dark, and it sure did. People really ended the year in a lot of fear, and I still see a lot of fear kind of out there. But I've also observed some interesting shifts as well. Let me first just preface this with that as an astrologer, I've been watching for this time for a long time. The United States has Pluto in Capricorn, and that means with Pluto in Capricorn, we're up for our 1-year Pluto birthday. We'll be 1 Pluto year old. It's about 249 years. When that happens, there's usually a revolution of sorts. At least that's my prediction. And we began with the revolution, and I think we'll have another revolution. So I've been looking and waiting for this revolution to sort of happen, but I've always been wondering, where would it come from? I mean, of course, I was really concerned when I started seeing stories about things like FEMA camps in the United States and everyone running out and getting guns, because I thought, well, the revolution might happen in the worst way, and I'd hate for that to happen. But my sensei senses tell me that's not the way it happens, because when you come full circle in karma, it's kind of like a spiral staircase. You'll find yourself at the same point, but you'll be higher up vibrationally, higher up in wisdom and awareness, and usually higher up in your behaviors. I'm not saying there's not going to be violence. In fact, I still think the powers that be are still using violence in a huge way, but I just think that this re-evolution of the United States will most likely be nonviolent. So I've been scratching my head wondering, how the heck is God Universe going to create this revolution? And I think we have it, friends. His name is Donald Trump. Now, I'm not giving him credit for where the revolution goes or if it goes well or anything like that, but I do believe from what I've seen that we have huge and fast change happening in every direction, every way. Every rule, if you notice, has been broken. Everyone, the mass media, big corporations, even China, is kind of sitting on the edge of a tweet. It's pretty incredible. Everything is literally on edge. And before that, the energy was very relaxed, steady as she goes, slowly closing in the noose around our necks as far as civil liberties and our cost of healthcare. I mean, it was just getting worse, worse, and worse. I'm not saying it's getting better. I'm saying it has definitely changed. And what I'm seeing as we move into this Aquarius vibration in the next 24 hours, we may not be under the leadership of someone who's going to lead us to our highest good, but we have officially opened up the floodgates of it's time for change. So I think in a God perspective, what's interesting about this Trump phenomenon is because his sun conjuncts Uranus, that literally means he's unpredictable, and that literally means people are always on eggshells. Now, that may seem like a bad thing, but again, power is in the moment. Power is in the present. Human beings needed to wake up and focus on this moment right now and take their power back. And I do see that happening. I see everyone from China to the news media having to kind of like stay awake, pay attention. And I also see huge, great humanitarian things happening. For instance, there's this huge march with women in Washington, D.C. On Saturday. And I think all these women have gotten together from a Facebook profile. And it's not necessarily an anti-Trump march. It's just a We the Women Are United march. Now, that is so cool. And this is also a side effect. So, it's not the way we would have thought. It's not even looking pretty. But it does look like the only thing we can expect is the unexpected. And what that provides is an opportunity for literally anything to happen. It really does. I think if you have a president that can say anything off the cuff, then of course you can say anything off the cuff. And if you have a president that's questioning some fundamentals of something that we've all supposed to always, respect, that means you can absolutely question the fundamentals of something we all used to respect. So in a way, there's a trailblazing here that is allowing people to stand up, unite, and come into what they believe. Now, it's funny because I think the problem with this country is big business. I've always thought corporations were the problem. And here we have, probably for the first time in U.S. history, CEOs of major corporations coming in and just taking over the presidential cabinet. I mean, my gosh golly, there's no need for a lobby now. You've got the CEOs running the country. And you may say, oh my God, they're going to take, advantage and rape, pillage, and burn and, ruin this country. That may be true. But I think the difference is that will be the last straw. At this point, the American people have had enough. So this is really going to be a fascinating reality show in the sense of, will all these people, these rich people in power, do for the good of the common person as promised or not? The other thing I want to point out about Trump is he is a Gemini. So if you are getting just worn out with what you're hearing, wait for the headlines of what has actually happened. This is a person you have to look at by their actions and not necessarily their words. I think he's all a master of reality TV, and I think it's poetic irony that all the networks pumped reality TV down our throat for nearly 20 years at a 6th grade reading level, and then someone comes in and plays that Pied Piper and wins. Okay, so if the media is unhappy, you created this. You know what I mean? And it's interesting to see that the media now is coming full circle. So, as my family always says, karma's a bitch. Everyone is going to end up looking at something differently. But the good news is we are now entering an era of unlimited possibility. And you, my friend, in this kind of wild-e coyote Wild West market, which is what we're entering into here. It's just anything goes, who knows. In that is the opportunity to do real miracles yourself. And of course, your miracles will come from your heart. They'll come from your genius. They'll come from your last 10 years of contemplating. This is an opportunity for everyone because it has been decided that the system we had did not work. And that leaves open unlimited possibility for people with solutions and systems that do work. So if you are an innovator and if you have a vision, as crazy as it looks right now in the world, I think this is the best time to really go out there and do your thing. Now, I will say, looking ahead at 2017, I think there's going to be a lot of honeymoon period. I think there's going to be a lot of optimism. And I think a lot of things are going to just be a little too out there. So you're going to see a lot of Wild West tendencies. And you're going to see really, I think, good times ahead and a lot of optimism for most of the year. So this is a good year really not to fear, but to go forward and see how far you can get during this honeymoon period. Things really start to get serious as far as the American re-evolving in 2020. That's when Saturn conjuncts our Pluto. So we might have some sort of a economic issue in the United States, or we might get called on something. I mean, there's a myriad things that could happen, but it's basically the United States has to grow up economically. And then in 2022, which would be in the second term of Trump or the first term of someone else, okay, That's really when shift hits the fan and things come to a climax and our Pluto literally returns. So this year, go for the gusto. Develop under unlimited possibilities, and let's see where we end up together. All right, my friend, I hope you have a galactic weekend in this Sun in Aquarius. Do remember that I do love you, and until Monday, live, love, be.